Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Current Economy and Investments Insight. Today is April 26, 2021. I'm Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Pala Sites, and my co-host, Paul Munical with Ameriprise. He's staying distance with me, and he is at his studio at his home, and he's going to provide us with the information that the marketplace, basically, and all the things that took place last week. And when he's finished, I will give you, as of this morning's information that Ameriprise had sent us, and I have it right here. So we'll turn it over to Paul and take it away, Paul.
Okay, Ron, thanks for the introduction. Glad to be back for another week. Today, I want to start off the show by talking not necessarily about the market in the United States, but look outside of our borders and talk a little bit about the European market and what's going on there. Because as we all know, it's a global world and we need to be aware of market conditions everywhere as investors. So let's dive into the data a bit. After a tough couple of weeks due to resurgent COVID-19 virus conditions and a poor start to vaccine production and distribution, European economies seem to be getting back on track. Recently, market released their preliminary Purchasing Manager Index surveys, the PMI survey, for Europe and other parts of the globe. According to FactSet, the reports showed a faster pace of month-over-month expansion in Europe's manufacturing and service sectors than was expected, as both measures attained near-term highs. Similar to other PMI measures, the reports are diffusion indexes, meaning index levels above 50 indicate month-over-month growth, while readings below 50 indicate contraction. Now, the preliminary market manufacturing index for the Eurozone came in at a very strong 63.3. The reading was solidly ahead of the 62 expected and by far the best reading since the market series began in April of 2018. The prior all-time high was 56.2 as recorded in April of 2018. The region's services sector also experienced month-over-month growth for the first time since August. The preliminary market services PMI for April posted a reading of 50.3 versus the 49.1 expected, but it still leaves considerable room for improvement. And in our view, services in the region are typically very dependent on tourism over the next 6 months, the prospects for which remain very dependent on virus conditions and also those travel restrictions. So sounds like good news going on overseas. It sounds like their economy may be beginning to recover as ours has begun to recover. Again, all this, as we all know, is all dependent on the virus and how it's controlled and distribution of vaccines to get everything in order and get life moving forward again. That's going to do it all for me for the first half, Ron. I'll send it back over to you and I'll be back with some information on tax filing.
And thank you, Paul, for the update. And as I had mentioned, Ameriprise had sent us information as of this morning about the financials. The U.S. stock index futures are flat as investors await one of the busiest weeks of the first quarter earnings season. And the U.S. Treasury yields are slightly higher ahead of a 2-day Federal Reserve policy meeting starting Tuesday, meeting tomorrow, and the key inflation data that is due on Friday this week. As the global oil prices fell overnight as traders monitored the COVID-19 spread in India and the impact on demand, hopefully that is going to bring some of our gas prices down. And the EU announced legal action against AstraZeneca over shortfalls in the deliveries of its coronavirus vaccine. The year-to-date returns, interesting, the S&P 500 is a plus 11, and the Dow Jones is a plus 11 also, and the NASDAQ is a plus 8. Everything is hanging in there pretty nicely. We'll see what happens during the next week, and We will be back. Stay with us with our show called Your Money. Paul usually has an interesting topic to talk about, and stay with us. And we're back with our show called Your Money. Paul Munico with Ameriprise has an interesting topic, and I'm going to let Paul take it away.
Okay, as mentioned, I want to talk today a little bit about tax filing, and anyone that watches the show knows I am not a tax advisor, so please confirm information with your tax advisor before taking any action on anything. I'm just here today to give you some general guidelines and things to consider. So the last minute for tax filing is lasting a little bit longer this year. You know, this mid-April is the time of year when some are scrambling to finish their tax returns, which are typically due, mid-April. That's not the case this year. The IRS recently announced that it's pushing back the federal tax filing deadline until May 17th, 2021. This gives you a little extra time to make sure you are prepared to do everything properly. Note that due to weather factors, those in Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas, they may even have till June 15th to file their federal tax return. Again, be sure to check on whether your state tax filing deadline has been changed. I'm just speaking in generalities today. Now, the extra time to do your taxes may take some pressure off you, but you can now make good use of the extra time to identify all the ways you can better manage your personal finances as they relate to your taxes. So today, I'm going to give you 4 tips to consider as you put your final numbers together. Tip number 1, claim a charitable donation deduction even if you don't itemize. So consider this and ask your tax advisor about it. With the standard deduction doubled in recent years, few people benefit from itemizing deductions. That kept them from claiming a deduction for charitable contributions. Now on your 2020 federal tax return, even if you chose standardized deductions, you may be able to claim a $300 deduction for cash contributions made to qualified charitable organizations. In 2020, the limit applies to both singles and married. Now for 2021, a similar provision allows a deduction of cash charitable contributions of $300 per single filer and $600 for married filing jointly. Tip number 2, obtain a stimulus payment you may not have received. So some people who saw their income decline in 2020 might not have qualified for government stimulus payments that were based on 2019 income levels. If you may have qualified based on your 2020 income, you can claim a recovery rebate credit on your 2020 tax return. Tip number 3, be prepared to claim unemployment benefits as income. So for those of you with adjusted gross incomes below $150,000, a special provision for 2020 allows you to omit gross income of $10,200 in unemployment benefits you received in 2020. However, anything above that amount is included in your income and taxed at applicable ordinary income tax rates. And finally, tip number 4. Extend your time if you need it. So even if the May 17th filing deadline isn't long enough, you can file for an extension by that date. Then your taxes won't be due until a later time. And that time may be as late as October 15th. If you anticipate having to pay additional taxes when filing your return, you must make that payment by May 17th deadline to avoid a penalty. The deadline for making the first 2021 estimated tax payment does remain at April 15th, 2021. So that time has passed. Again, just a few general tips for those of you at home that haven't filed your taxes and are planning to take advantage of the extension. Things to consider. And again, always check with your tax professional and your financial advisor if you have any questions pertaining specifically to your situation. If you do not have a financial advisor and are looking to work with one, or are looking for a second opinion to the one you're working with, feel free to give me a call directly. My name is Paul Municle, as Ron has stated, and I work at Ameriprise Financial, and you can reach me directly at 708-226-3412. I hope everyone has a great week, and I will be back next week with a few new topics. Back over to you, Ron.
Thank you, Paul, for that interesting topic. For Paul Municle with Ameriprise Financial and myself, Ron Jankowski with Channel 4 and Palos Heights, we both wish you good investment day.